So good morning, students. So yesterday's class I was not in Tanuku yesterday. That's why I'm unable to keep your lesson. In today's class, we are going to discuss about parallelogram law of vector. Okay, parallelogram law of vector. You all know this parallelogram law of vector. So this is a method to find the resultant between two given vectors. So first of all, I will give you what is resultant. I will give you idea regarding result. Consider a block of mass M and apply a force on this. Apply a force on this. If this force is not sufficient to move this block, it won't move. Its velocity is equals to 0 because force is not sufficient to change its state of rest. Suppose you are applying more force, I mean external force, additional force. This is the F1 and this is the F2. Now, in addition to F1, you are applying F2. So, definitely it will move. It will change its state of rest and accelerate along the direction of applied force. Along the direction of applied force. Then it is said to be that a net force of sum of F1 and F2 is acting to change its state of rest. One more example I will tell. So this is a block and here is the force that you are applying F1 and this is a block of mass M and another force is acting opposite to this one. And since I am applying this one, I can give you idea that F2 is greater than F1. F2 is greater than F1. Then what is the net force during this process? Net force is equal to difference between these two forces. I mean F2 minus F1. F2 minus F1. When forces are parallel to one another, like this, when forces are anti-parallel to one another, like this, you will get a net force which is acting or a resultant force which is acting on these blocks. Now, if suppose these two forces, so this is the force 1 and this is the force 2, F1 and F2. What is the resultant force? You may not write like this and even like this. How can you write the net force? I mean resultant force between these two. So to get this idea, we need to take a we need to use a angular displacement and some trigonometric functions to get this idea. Okay. Now I'll give you formula for this direct formula. Resultant force Fn or a resultant R between these two is equals to root over F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos theta. Let me explain this one. What is F1? Magnitude of first force. What is F2? Magnitude of second force. What is this theta? Theta is angular displacement or angle between F1 and F2. And F1, F2 is a product of given two forces. Okay. If two forces are acting parallel to one another, you can use this formula. If they are anti-parallel, you can use this formula. If they are not parallel and anti-parallel, parallel means angle between these two is equal to theta is equal to 0 degrees. Anti-parallel means theta is equal to 180 degrees. If theta is not equal to 0 and is not equal to 180 degrees, then this is the formula to find the resultant between two given forces. Suppose if you replace, instead of writing force, a vector, you can say like this. If two vectors are acting along the adjacent sides of the parallelogram, so here is your first adjacent side and the second adjacent side of parallelogram, P and Q. Then diagonal of this parallelogram represents the resultant of these two forces. The resultant of these two forces. Children, you can repeatedly listen the same statement. Okay. If you are in class, I can repeat this statement once again and once again. But since it is a video, I cannot repeat that. The video length will be increased. That's why. Okay, try to repeat this in your video itself. So this is the first force and this is the second force, and angle between these two is equals to theta. And what is the direction made by this resultant with the first vector is taken as alpha. The direction is taken as a alpha. Now, what is the formula or magnitude of resultant? R is equals to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. So this is the formula for resultant between two vectors P and Q, and direction of the resultant alpha is equal to tan inverse. This is another trigonometric function, tan inverse Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. So this every formula is explained in our notes. That's why I'm not here to give you extra information regarding this. Okay. This is your revision class, children. Remember this. This is your revision class, not regular class. That's why we are going through formulas only. Now, small applications on this. If theta is equals to 0 degrees, theta is equal to 0 degrees, comma 30 degrees, comma 45 degrees, comma 60 degrees, and 90 degrees, 120 degrees, comma 180 degrees. Okay, so these are the angles, standard angles between the two forces. You do one thing in today's class, you can go through this one. Find the resultant between two vectors of magnitude P and Q, and direction of the resultant is alpha is equal to tan inverse Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. So substitute these values here in theta and proceed and note down the value of resultant. I will do one. So 0 you can, 30 you can, 45, 60. Can I do this one? 60 degrees. If theta is equals to 60 degrees, before entering into this, I'll give you the values. Cos theta, cos 0 is equals to, so instead of writing theta is equal to 0, cos theta, I mean cos 0 is equal to 1, cos 30 root 3 by 2, cos 45 1 by root 2, cos 60. These values you need to substitute when you are doing this calculation. Cos 90 is equal to 0. Cos 120 is equal to minus 1 by 2. Cos 180 is equal to minus 1. Now, for 60 degrees, I will do the application. You just do your practice for remaining angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 angles. for 60 degrees. If theta is equal to 60 degrees, then r can be, r is equal to root over p square plus q square plus 2pq cos 60. Cos 60. Then, so p square plus q square plus 2pq cos 60. What is the value of cos 60 here? 1 by 2. So in your numerator 2pq, denominator 1 by 2. I mean 1 by 2. 2 will get cancelled. So your resultant will be like this. R is equal to root over p square plus q square plus pq. So this is your answer. Now what is the angle made by this? Resultant. So with the first vector, alpha. That is alpha. Note it down. So we will go through this one tomorrow. Now alpha is equal to tan inverse q sin theta. I mean q sin 60 by p plus q cos 60. So this is a substitution. Then proceedings. Tan inverse q sin 60 value not given here. I will write now. Always cos 30 is equal to sin 60. For complementary angles, alternatively sin and cos will give you same value. So sin 60 is equal to root 3 by 2. Root 3 in numerator, in denominator by 2. So this is how you need to write. This is for completely numerator. And then p plus q. Cos 60. Cos 60 is equal to 1 by 2. 1 by 2. So this is the denominator. Now alpha is equals to tan inverse. This is a q root 3, right? By 2. Cross multiplication with 2 into p. 2p plus q. 2p plus q whole divided by 2. So can I erase this? So alpha is equal to tan inverse. Observe this one. Q root 3 by 2. 2p plus q by 2. So by 2 by 2 will get cancelled. You will get q root 3 by 2p plus q. So this is your answer. Proceed the same calculation or the same theory for remaining 6 angles. So I have done this one 60 degrees. You need to do this one for 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45, 90, 120 and 180. Okay? Note it down. మా అంతా కూడా నేను 60 డిగ్రీస్కి చేశాను. రిమైనింగ్ యాంగిల్స్కి చేయాలి. చేసి అప్లికేషన్స్ అన్ని రెడీ చేయండి. ఓకే, స్టిల్ మీకు ఏమైనా డౌట్ ఉంటే నాకు ఫోటో పెట్టండి, నేను దాన్ని రెక్టిఫై చేసి పంపిస్తాను, ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తాను, వాయిస్ మెసేజ్ ఉంది. ఓకే, దిస్ ఈజ్ యువర్ థర్డ్ క్లాస్, సమ్మర్ రివిజన్ క్లాస్లో థర్డ్ క్లాస్ మ్యాథమెటికల్ ఫిజిక్స్. ఇంకో 2 క్లాసెస్ మ్యాథమెటిక్స్ ఫిజిక్స్లో చెప్తాను, నెక్స్ట్ చాప్టర్కి వెళ్ళిపోతాను. ఓకేనా? థ్యాంక్ యూ.